students, and welcome back to our videos from YouTube from your favorite English school, ES for Business and Life. Today we're going to be covering the Unit 8 of our beginner's book, and we'll be talking about some grammar here. Let's begin. Today we will be talking about frequency adverbs or adverbs of frequency. It's pretty much the same. For example, we have the frequency adverbs always, never, and sometimes, but we have more. There are more. We will also review some questions. For example, does she like rock music? Or when do you go to church? Okay, frequency adverbs indicate obviously the frequency a person does an action, or the frequency something happens. We have some here and I need you to repeat them. I will repeat every frequency adverb 3 times. As you can also notice, there is a percentage that indicates the frequency these actions are done. We have from 100 to 0%. And remember that all these percentages are relative. They are not exact. Okay, we have always, always, always. This indicates that I do this action all the time. 100% time 100% of the times. And the second one, we have 3 that indicate the 80%, which are usually, 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 normally, 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 or frequently, frequently, frequently. These indicate a percentage of 80%, maybe 70%, 90% perhaps. Okay, we also have sometimes, sometimes, sometimes. Sometimes indicates a 50%, maybe 60, maybe 40. It's again, one more time, relative. Okay, let's continue. Okay, we have 2 left, which are, let's repeat, almost never, almost never, almost never. And also we have hardly ever, hardly ever, hardly ever. And these 2 are very similar, but remember that one is with never and the other is with ever. Okay, let's get okay. Finally, we have the last one, which indicates 0%, and that is never, never, never. All right, now let's check out the formula. There are 2 formulas, one with the verb to be and one with action verbs. The first one, when we use the verb to be, the position of the frequency adverb is very important and cannot be changed. In the example, I am normally happy at parties, we have the subject, we have the auxiliary to be. This is the verb to be. Remember, the verb to be can be am, is, are, was, were, and be. And we also have, after the verb to be, we have the frequency adverb here, normally, and our complement. For example, we also have, my dad is always busy in the morning. And then, as you can see, we have the subject, we have the auxiliary and verb. To be is, remember that the verb to be is both an auxiliary and a verb. And then we have our frequency adverb, always, and the rest of the sentence, the complement. In the second example, they are never late to work. They are never late to work. And let's go backwards. We have the complement at the end, and we have our frequency adverb, never, right after our auxiliary verb to be verb, and finally, well, but at the beginning, we have the subject. Okay, now the second formula is for the simple present, and this is for all action verbs. Actions such as go, speak, live, have, let's correct that, have, play, etc. And in the example, I always take a shower in the morning, I always take a shower in the morning, you notice that the position of the frequency adverb is a little bit different. This time we start with the subject, and then we immediately start with the frequency adverb, and then we have our action verb, and finally we have the complement right here. We have some examples as well here. We have, we normally do homework in the afternoon. We normally do homework in the afternoon. Tom never shows up without his friends. Tom never shows up without his friends. Let's label these two sentences. We have the subject, which is in number 1, it's we, and in number 2, it is Tom. Then we have our frequency adverb, because we're using an action verb. Frequency adverb normally, and frequency adverb never. And then we have our verb do, and verb shows. Well, actually it is shows up. It's a phrasal verb. You are going to see this in another class, in another level. And finally, we have the rest of the sentence, which is our complement. Complement, complement. All right, we can also compare and see the difference. In the example, I am always happy, we have the verb auxiliary here, am, and that's why we put the frequency adverb right here. But in the simple present, in the example, I always feel happy, you can see that the verb feel is an action, not the verb to be, and that's why the position is different. It's put here. So this requires some practice. Remember, if it's the verb to be, we put it after the verb to be. If it's an action verb, we put it before. Okay, let's change topics a little bit here. We're going to have a little review on questions in English. The questions in English usually have the same formula. That formula is a question word, for example, what, an auxiliary, for example, does, a subject, for example, Alejandra, a verb, we can say take, and the complement, which can be, let's see, French class. And well, don't forget the question mark. And the result is, what does Alejandra take? Oh, there's a mistake here. I'm really sorry. Let's change this. Instead of what, this would be when, because we want to know the time. So the result is, when does Alejandra take French class? And you can see we have question word, auxiliary, subject, verb, and complement. We have more examples, and you can see the formula is always the same. Auxiliary, have auxiliary, subject, verb, complement. Remember that the question word is sometimes it is optional, depending if it's a yes/no question or an information question. In example number 1, are you speaking English? Are you speaking English? This is a yes/no question. And in the example, do you live in San Luis Potosí? Do you live in San Luis Potosí? This is a yes/no question too. But in the third one, what time do you get home? What time do you get home? This is not a yes/no question. This is an information question. Okay, just a little tip before we finish this video. Remember, you have to, if you want to be a very good English speaker, writer, and listener, you have to practice a lot. Think in English, don't translate, don't change from Spanish to English. That is not a good idea. Very, very bad idea, because your English will not be correct. And please also be patient. Take your time, be patient with yourself. You will get there. Thank you very much, and see you on our next video. Goodbye.